Welcome to the Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. I'm so happy you found us. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on iFiber One News Radio, KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. A good Friday morning to you at the Daybreak Show here on iFiber One KMAS. Good morning, Spencer.
Hey, good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. And coming up this morning here, first half of the show, Dr. Alex Apostle on. Also, we're hearing a report, and people are already thinking about next year's Oscars. They're trying their best to do an in-person telecast. I don't know if it's a good idea, but we'll go over that for you as well. In the second half of the hour, talk a little bit about beards and shaving over this winter months, and found the perfect job for people who love Christmas and love being a couch potato. So we'll talk about that too. How you doing, man? What's going on with the weather for the weekend?
It's going to be nice, and then it's going to change next week. So if you like the sunshine versus the rain, this is the weekend to enjoy it. We'll have generally sunny skies between now and Sunday, clouding up Monday, and it looks like rain all of next week.
Mason County Public Health notified of 18 additional Mason County residents testing positive for COVID-19, bringing the total now to 856 positive cases in Mason County. There are 98 active cases, 2 hospitalized within the county, 2 hospitalized without the county. There's still an outbreak at the Washington Correction Center. The numbers at doc.wa.gov shows the number at 88, but that's still the same number as we reported on earlier this week.
The Washington State Department of Health has reported 50 additional COVID-19 deaths and 2,090 new cases as of Wednesday. The Seattle Times reports the update brings the state's totals to 172,432 cases and 2,900 deaths, meaning that 1.7% of people diagnosed in the state have died, according to the Department of Health. The data is as of 11:59 p.m. Wednesday. The state also reported 11,195 people have been hospitalized because of the virus, with 241 new hospitalizations as of Wednesday. On the Port Gamble Sklallam Reservation in North Kitsap, officials said this week that an outbreak of the coronavirus has infected more than a dozen people and forced nearly 50 close contacts into isolation.
And again, the WHO, the CDC, Health and Human Services, OSHA, LNI, all of us are in agreement on these basics for COVID-19. Stay home when you're sick. Practice good hygiene. Wash your hands frequently. Watch your distance. Wear face coverings. And then avoid settings where you can't do those previous items. New leadership for state Senate Republicans. Tracy Ellis reports on that.
John Braun is now the Senate Republican leader.
We have to really listen to people and the challenges they face every day, whether it's in the middle of a pandemic or just in normal times. We need to look for things that bring us all together, that work for all of Washington. And I think if we continue to propose solutions that work for all of Washington, in the end, we will prevail.
Braun replaces Senator Mark Schessler, who chose to step down after 8 years. Schessler is still in the Senate. Braun lives in Centralia and represents the 20th District. Ann Rivers moves into the Senate Republican caucus chair position following the retirement of Senator Randy Becker.
My goal is to make sure that our caucus remains focused on the families of our state, whether it's caring for a family member with disabilities, young children who need to be in school, or just making the mortgage.
Rivers of La Center represents the 18th District. Senator Shelley Short remains the Republican floor leader, and Senator Keith Wegener is the Republican whip. I'm Tracy Ellis.
Thanks, Tracy. Authorities say a couple were arrested at a Hawaii airport after traveling on a flight from the U.S. mainland despite knowing they were infected with COVID-19. The Kauai Police Department says Wesley Maribi and Courtney Peterson were arrested on suspicion of second-degree reckless endangering. Officials say Maribi and Peterson took COVID-19 tests in Seattle, received their positive results while flying to San Francisco. Officials say they were both asked to isolate, but they decided to continue on to Hawaii, where they live. Peterson did not immediately return voicemail messages seeking comment. A phone number associated with Maribi has been disconnected.
Man, I know Hawaii is hardcore on those things. They'll take your phone GPS and they'll track you. I've seen where folks will sneak pictures on Instagram and it comes back to the health department down there.
Yeah, very, very strict. One of the strictest, I believe, in the whole country.
Well, we discussed this when it rolled out early this week, but Eric Tegedoff from Washington News Service has more on that new tool to help track COVID.
Washingtonians' cell phones can now help track the spread of COVID-19. WA Notify launched this week and, when activated, can inform the phone's user if they've been in close contact with someone who has tested positive for the coronavirus. More than a dozen states already have a similar tracing method in place. Governor Jay Inslee's press secretary Mike Falk says WA Notify will supplement contact tracing, which has run into roadblocks.
People seem reluctant about their privacy to interact with contact tracers. And so we think one way to help with that while we continue contact tracing is to offer other alternatives that can kind of meet the same goals.
Washingtonians can voluntarily activate the tracing program, which is an anonymous notification system that doesn't collect or reveal users' location or personal data. Research shows virus spread can be slowed even if a small number of people sign up for digital notification systems. Some Washingtonians initially expressed skepticism about the privacy of the system. Falk says it's designed to ensure everyone remains anonymous.
It won't tell you who that person is or where you were when that happened, but it will tell you that you may have been exposed, and it will give you a list of things that you should probably do now that you have that information.
WA Notify can be turned on under Settings and Exposure Notifications on iPhones. Android users need to download the app in order to use it. For Washington News Service, I'm Eric Tegedoff.
Thanks, Eric. American Airlines is taking members of the media on a Boeing 737 MAX as it tries to convince travelers that the plane is safe. I think you and I'll pass on that. You could tell me how it goes. Okay,
No,
Jeff?
that's actually at the end of this story. The button on this is that it's you.
Oh, really? Okay.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, thank you. All Boeing MAX jets worldwide were grounded back in March 2019 after the second of two crashes that together killed 346 people. Last month, the Federal Aviation Administration approved changes that will let airlines resume flying the plane. American's first MAX flight with regular passengers is scheduled for December 29th.
I was watching the news with Shepard Smith. It's probably a couple weeks ago when they first either got approval or were talking about this rollout, and they're gonna slowly bring these planes back into flight. But I believe the airlines will tell you if you're going to get on one of these 737 MAXs and then offer you an opportunity to change to a different plane if you want to. But they're not going to be making the big pomp and circumstance like they used to when this was like a gem in your fleet. Yeah. It's just going to be another plane.
Yeah, that's a good idea. As long as they don't substitute it for one of those tiny little prop planes they still fly sometimes, like the really tiny planes. I hate those.
Those puddle jumpers?
Yeah, no thank you.
First week of college basketball filled with great games, and we've got a good one here for you on the radio tomorrow as number 1 Gonzaga, your Bulldogs, will play the number 2 Baylor Bears. It'll be in Indianapolis. It'll be the 9th time they've met since 2005. We've got it here for you on the radio. Then on Sunday, Seahawks are on, presented by Shelton Health and Rehab, Riviera Shellfish, South Sound Appliance, Dogtown Grooming, Neil's Pharmacy, and the Shelton Athletic Club. Unfortunately, the Cougars are playing at that same time on Sunday, so we are opting for the Hawks there. Again, coming up this half hour, Dr. Alex Apostle from the Shelton School District. Also talk to you a little bit about a story, something happened to me last night I'd like to share with you. In the next half hour, a perfect job for those who love Christmas and couches. And you see a lot more folks with beards these days. We'll tell you why. It's all coming up here on Daybreak.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
And again, good Friday to you here on Daybreak. Morning, Spence.
Good morning.
I want to open up a little bit, share. Things have been, it's tough here. We've talked often, every day, about the struggles of not only the country going through coronavirus, but as winter turns and kids in school and just emotions are running high. It's getting darker earlier and later. It's not a lot of daylight out there, and it's a definitely, at least in the Slakey household, an emotional time right now. We've had quite a lot of crying sessions this last week. Emotions are very high. I don't know what it's like in your house, but last night as we were working on Christmas crafts, we were listening to the Christmas music, and Pentatonics is that a cappella band. They do all the music and the instruments with their voices and stuff.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Anyways, they're really good. Their version of Hallelujah came on, and it's one of my absolute favorite songs. I think a lot of people love that song. And I just broke down. I just started crying, and it's been a long time since I've done that. Just kind of let my emotions take over. And we don't necessarily talk about that a lot.
No, and I don't believe in coincidences, so I think you were meant to hear that song. You were meant to kind of let go of a lot of emotions and let it all out. I think it wasn't a coincidence. I think it was cathartic, obviously, and something you needed, and you were at the right place, right time, and that song was meant for you and maybe other people too, feeling the same kind of bottled up emotions. I think we're all kind of running on vapors at this point, emotionally speaking. It's just so hard.
It was pretty much as soon as the song started, I put my head down, I kind of put my hands in my head and started just listening to the words and hearing the sounds, and it just started coming. And I don't think it's over yet either. I think there's another one in there, and it could be an even bigger release sometime. And I just wanted to take this time to let others know that it's okay, to show these emotions and to be vulnerable and to be open with your families and talk with them, because this is an unprecedented struggle. Unless you have gone through the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, none of us, this is uncharted territories. There is help out there, available professionals, but your family is there as well if you have that opportunity.
And it's very healthy. I mean, I've talked about it on my podcast. It releasing, there's a reason why we do that. And crying generally speaking, makes you feel better afterwards. How did you feel immediately afterwards? Almost like you felt like, God, I needed that, right? Like you needed to let it out.
Exactly. And it has been a long, long time. I couldn't tell you the last time I had a good cry. It's been a long time, but it was needed. And I think it's needed for a lot of folks. And whatever reason, society has built up the fact that, guys are not supposed to show those kinds of emotions. And that's not healthy.
No. It's not. It leads to tension. It leads to hypertension. I mean, bottling emotions is never a good idea.
So if you find yourself in a situation where emotions are welling up, let it go. And I think it will be, at the end, a night you will feel calmer, more at peace, and help you look ahead.
Very nice. Very true.
More Daybreak shows coming up.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
Good morning to you. The Daybreak Show continues on this Friday. Morning, Spencer.
Good morning. What's going on?
Well, we've gotten used to the Zooms, the Zoom classes, the Zoom interviews, the Zoom Thanksgivings, Zoom concerts, Zoom awards. But rumor has it 2021 Academy Awards are looking to buck the recent trends and have the Oscars do an in-person telecast.
Interesting. I wonder how they're going to do that.
Very optimistic. It's slated for April 25th It's already been pushed back because of the pandemic. However, it appears the Academy hopeful that theaters will return to normal capacity by then, which could afford more movie premieres and, well, then more Oscar contenders.
That makes sense. Yeah, and by April 25th, hopefully, they're talking about the vaccine being available in the next month or something. So it could be a very, very different scenario come spring.
Well, next month or something. No, man. Pfizer has a hearing set on the 10th. Moderna as well. They're looking for that emergency authorization on December 10th, so a week, less than a week from now. And if they get the FDA approval, plans are in motion to have the vaccine ready for delivery on the 11th.
Wow.
And I was hearing some other numbers about perhaps 20 million doses through the end of the year, or maybe by the end of January, and start to do this. So if the movie theaters remain closed, the Academy is still planning an in-person ceremony at the 3,400-seat Dolby Theater, making adjustments to abide to the CDC guidelines. Academy apparently has done a walkthrough to look at the options. I don't know. I mean, I guess you have to plan these things, but...
Can you imagine, like, you put the Academy Award, you put the statue on the ground, and you're like, I'm stepping back. Stepping back. No, can you get it? Best actor?
Can you come pick it up? Yep.
Just get it.
Yeah, you can't share them. They'll all be shrink wrapped or something.
I wonder if the statues will have masks. They ought to do that so everybody remembers.
They should do that.
That year.
They should do that. Do a special one-off masked Oscar.
Can you imagine? His nostrils are showing.
Over the nose, Oscar. Well, I don't know about this. Everybody else seems to have already been doing some virtual shows. Showrunners of the SAG Awards and the Critic Choice Awards, both which would be held in March, are weighing their options. You just never know. Even if the vaccine's in circulation, people are trying to do what they can to get things, back to... It's never going to be like it was a year ago, but back to something that we can at least see as normalcy.
Yeah, as close as we can get to it, I think.
This could have been... Now, I'm going to switch gears big time here. The Oscar ratings have been down and down and down year after year. This could have been... I'm sorry, but this could have been their chance to break and stop and do something completely different and revamp it.
Yeah.
Like do the whole thing on TikTok or something. Get the kids involved again.
I think bring back Billy Crystal. Those were my favorite Oscars, the ones he hosted. I think there hasn't been a host like him since. It's just kind of gone downhill. They've tried some wacky hosts and stuff, and it's backfired every single time pretty much.
Billy Crystal would be really good. He was good. Has Seinfeld ever hosted?
I don't know. He'd be another good one. That's a good idea.
That David Letterman, boy, that was probably one of the demarcation lines where it went from good hosts to not as good hosts.
Yeah, and then you wonder, how did that happen, right? I mean, I don't think anybody saw that coming, but it was a total opposite of what they were hoping for.
Yeah. I mean, you see... in that respect, you see Letterman on the shows. You saw him during that time every night being funny, and maybe he wasn't able to bring his writing team, or he just wasn't feeling it that night, or it's a totally different atmosphere than the sit-down talk show.
Yeah, and it's just like when they bring these famous people to do radio too. Honestly, I remember when Alec Baldwin, his show lasted 5 minutes because he wasn't getting phone calls, and you're thinking, okay, he's one of the most popular actors in America. They put him on the radio, and nobody calls to talk to him. I mean, it was just very strange.
Huh. More Daybreak Show coming up.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Again, good morning to you here on Daybreak. Get paid $2,500 to watch 25 holiday movies in 25 days. Spencer, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Put a pause on that Elf movie you're watching so we can get through this. There is a job out there for you. Reviews.org is where we're finding this link. We'll put the link in the show notes here. But this is for folks who want to watch 25 movies Christmas movies in 25 days. You'll get $2,500, but then you'll also get a year's subscription to almost every streaming service: Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Apple TV Plus, and Hallmark Movies Now.
Huh. Didn't even know that was a thing.
You get to pick some of these. I love these Christmas movies. Elf, Santa Claus, Love Actually is a good one. Muppet Christmas Carol, Christmas Vacation.
It's a Wonderful Life is one of my favorites.
It says, oh yeah, Wonderful Life, classic, Jingle All the Way, Grinch, any of those Grinches, Miracle on 34th. The question though, you get to that 25th movie and all you got left on the shelf is either Arthur Christmas or Die Hard.
That Die Hard debate has been going on for years, hasn't it?
It has.
I can't. I love Bruce Willis. I love that movie. Just because it takes place at Christmas, that's why they're saying, right? Because it's Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or something, right? It takes place Christmas.
Yeah. They're at the Nakatomi Plaza for the Christmas party. Good old John McClane flies in to come to see his estranged wife on the holidays, try to get the family back together. And then they're at the plaza for the Christmas party. And then the best baddie ever, Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman, Sirius Snape, he tries to ruin those plans.
Yeah.
It seems like Christmas to me.
It takes place at Christmas. I think Christmas movies as something celebrating Christmas, not as a backdrop for the holiday. But I could see it going either way. But when I think of like a Christmas song is like Jingle Bells or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Like if it was a song that just happened to throw in there like, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, and Christmas too, you wouldn't necessarily call that a Christmas song because it has the word Christmas in it. You know what I mean? Like it has to be like...
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
I don't know. It wouldn't be in my top 50, let's say. Maybe 51.
So we're split on this one. I say it is a Christmas movie. I just love the movie.
Oh, good movie. No doubt about it.
It is, there's that scene where he kills the bad guy and he writes "ho ho ho" on his shirt. That's not Christmassy enough for you?
I forgot about that scene. May have to reevaluate. Maybe it's at number 49 now.
There you go. Slowly making its way up the charts. Anyways, applications are open until tonight, so don't get too caught up in other things. If this is something you'd like to do, we'll put the links in the show notes. But $2,500 to watch 25 holiday movies in 25 days. Definitely sounds like something Troy Jasmine would be up to.
Yeah, really.
More Daybreak coming up.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
Again, good Friday morning to you. Daybreak Show rolls on. Yesterday on the show, Spencer, you were talking about getting some new razors, some safety razors in. And, well, what do you know? We've got a new survey here that talks about shaving and lots of beards, lots of folks going scruffy through the pandemic, working from home. Folks say, why bother? At least for men. Now, a new survey out shows a little bit different for women.
Yeah, the maker of the giant Gillette shaving brand and products reports that sales of male shaving products are down due to pandemic-related consumption decline, while sale of women's razors continue to increase. Maybe more ladies are wearing shorts around the house. Not sure what's going on there.
Maybe. It is winter time, so men are growing beards. There was just wrapped up the Movember kind of thing that was happening. I know the sheriff's department, they always do that thing where they get the beards and the boots. And
yeah, that's right.
Pretty interesting.
I'm growing mine not intentionally. I get busy, and especially with a safety razor, it takes me like an hour to shave my head and my face, and I haven't done it in like 2 weeks, and I feel like a slob. But I've got facial hair, and I personally don't like it. It feels just kind of scruffy on me and makes me itch and stuff. So I have to shave today. In fact, I don't like wearing a beard.
I have noticed that as my beard starts to come in more and more here in the winter, I'm noticing a little bit more the old silver and gray.
Oh, yes. Welcome to the party. I've had them for a while.
I mean, between you and me, I've been waiting for my hair to turn silver gray. I mean, I have a great memory and picture of my grandfather, Grandpa Ernie, and he was a silver fox, man. He had a great head of hair. So
yeah, I wish I had hair.
That side of the family.
I wish I had hair, period. But I like that silver look too. So I wish I had a full head of silver hair instead of just kind of the monk look.
Maybe I'll start getting a little tan. My hair turns a little more gray. Maybe I'll get a little more tan. And then the next thing you know,
George Hamilton.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh my.
All right, back to the survey. Gillette also is Procter & Gamble. As you can imagine, more folks are getting a healthy bump in sales on their cleaning products. So while the pandemic's pounded other businesses, Procter & Gamble's sales have been up because of this. The only category in which sales declined for them was baby care products, which is interesting.
That is interesting. I wonder if people are, you would think during a pandemic and people being home, I don't know, have they talked about that yet? Like a baby boom from this 2020 pandemic year?
I did see a headline that said that the baby boom was coming. So next year, probably, but who knows when it would be? I mean, it would be a running total, don't you think? From March,
you would think
each month would perhaps get more babies born each month as it goes through. I don't know. That's weird.
It is interesting to see that when it finally comes out.
More Daybreak coming up. Thank you so much for listening to today's Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. Again, I'm so happy and honored you found us and chose to listen. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of some of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on iFiber One News Radio KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Thank you so much again, and talk with you next time.